Good evening and welcome, hockey fans, to this next military appreciation night for USU hockey. Utah State is taking on the Weber State Wildcats. This will be the third meeting between these two teams this season. And it's been a fantastic season so far for both of these teams, truly. Weber State still managing to stay undefeated at the moment. They've been a absolute thorn in the sides of the Aggies this season, but Utah State poised to really come out strong tonight. So really excited to have you all tonight with us joining this stream. Whether you're a Weber State fan or a Utah State fan, doesn't matter to us. We're happy to have you either way. So let's give you guys a quick starting lineups, and then I'll give you a little bit more background on the last couple games from these two squads. Starting for Weber State, in goal we have number 30, Trey Hirschfield. Left side defense we have number 21, Cooper James. Right side number 5, Parker James. Left side wing number 19, Kevin Norwood. Right side wing number 16, Maker Klokov. And then manning up in the center, we have number 66, Caden Hunter. Then starting for your Aggies, the Aggies are wearing their special military appreciation night in remembrance of the veterans and for Veterans Day in general. We have, starting on right wing, we have number 7, Teague Pilgrim. Left side wing, number 14, Jack Wallace. Manning in the center, we have number 12, Nolan Gifford. Right side defense, number 28, Jack LaFontaine. Left side defense, number 16, Owen Ramsey. And then manning it up in goal is the local legend here, number 35, Titan Anderson. Always excited to see these boys playing. Once again, my name is Brian Kirk. Joining me tonight on production is Brett Weibel. He's going to be helping us out with production tonight. He might chime in here and there. Brett, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing awesome. We're getting ready for an awesome game tonight with the undefeated Weber State. I'm excited to see this game.
It's going to be a great one. They're going to go ahead and do us a nice special national anthem for this. We'll go ahead and kick it to that. We'll turn off the mics for just a second as that takes place, and we'll be right back with you.
Just leave it on.
Because it's Veterans Night, they're doing a special national anthem for everyone in the crowd. We have a bunch of Boy Scouts that are lining the stadium with a bunch of flags. We're always nice to have those representatives here for Veterans Night. And once again, very happy to have you guys. Let's talk a little bit about the last few results between these two squads. Weber State just got off a 4-2 win against Arizona State University, and the Aggies are coming off a big 5-2 win against the University of Utah. It's really big, and once again, having home field advantage here on this game is going to be major in this game 1 of 2 of Military Appreciation Night. Tomorrow's night's game, once again, you can join us here once again on the YouTube stream, and we will actually kick it now over to that national anthem. We'll be right back with more Utah State hockey. Welcome back, Hockey fans. Very, very excited. Once again, puck drop is just around the corner. Always nice to have a packed crowd in here on a Friday night here at the George S. Eccles Ice Arena. Once again, this is game 1 of 2 for Military Appreciation Night. Tomorrow, Utah State will be taking on Utah Valley University. In the past, that tends to be a bit more of a relaxed game for the Aggies, but you never want to sleep on any team, I'd say, in the ACHA. In particular, I would say definitely not against Weber State. Weber State has a very, very strong team this season, being undefeated currently, taking down the national tournament runners-up, Montana State. That's a big win for them. I mean, once again, Utah State also got that win as well, but that's not nothing. So the Aggies do have a big game ahead of them and a lot to work for. As the Aggies go ahead and win that initial face-off, there's already bodies hitting the floor. Weber State picks that off and dumps it forward and maintains possession, playing it back into their defensive zone. Here's James now. James surveys his options and looks for a stretch pass to his left side wing. Gets picked off by the Aggies. Good forward pass trying to find Gifford. Gifford gets forced up against the walls there and has to retreat. Here's Norwood taking it across center ice. Utah State tracking it back now. There's Owen Ramsey trying to take control of the puck and does so. Wallace plays it forward, finds Gifford. Gifford plays it forward. Here's Pilgrim. Pilgrim will take that shot, comes off the leg pads, and it spills around in front, but Weber State manages to get a little bit of hold of that, and the ref will call that one dead. Looks like the goal may have come off its moorings just barely. We'll see if there's any other additional calls. Well, like I said, tonight it looks like it's a sold-out crowd here at the George S. Eccles Ice Arena. That's a big deal here. Once again, I've been talking to people from the volunteers here that help put on these events, and there hasn't been any worries about getting people in here, but attendance has been down a little bit more than in the past games, so it's really nice to see a packed crowd. Once again, with plenty of Utah State fans, but I'm also seeing plenty of purple jerseys as well. Good to have them here. Aggies will take that shot immediately, and it comes off of the leg pads there of one of the Wildcats. Dumped forward, that's going to go right into the gloves of Hirschfield. 19:07 left here in the first period. Not too much has happened thus far. 2 whistles blown dead at this point, and we'll have ourselves a face-off here in the neutral zone on the Weber State side of things. Free gang lines up across from the Wildcats. Here's Artukovic. Plays it across to Theed. Dumps it forward into the corner. Tracking it back are the Aggies. Aggies in a different jersey tonight, specifically for Military Appreciation Night. The numbers are a bit harder to see, so I might get some of the numbers wrong, unfortunately, but appreciate you guys being understanding of that as Mater dumps that one into and around the backside of the net. Here's Bullock. Plays across for his other defender. Dumps it forward across the center. Trying to find Verschier. Can't get on the end of it. Free gang tries to get a hold of it, but Verschier is fast on it. Dumps it into the corner. Looks to go for the forecheck. Aggies maintain possession, however. Dumping it forward, but can't keep possession are the Aggies. Weber State has to make sure they stay on side. Pierce trying to fight for it here in center ice. Can't get on the end of it. Bogan trying to help out. Here's a great pass here. This is Jackson Ferry. Jackson Ferry surveys his options. He got a shot.
Oh.
Big hit up against the walls there. That was Ramsey on that initial shot. Once again, these numbers are camouflaged tonight for the Aggies, and that makes them a little bit harder to see. Not even a joke for you guys. The camouflage numbers, a bit more difficult. Here's Baum. Gets the puck up to Pierce. Dumping it forward. Here come the Aggies. Ferry plays it off to Sanborn. Sanborn loses it. Wildcats maintain possession for a moment, but it goes right back into Sanborn. Sanborn, once again, looking for some options as the Wildcats kind of surround him at the moment. Pierce can't get on the end of that one. Here's Takatani dumping it into the corner once again as he goes off to finish the Wildcat line change. Aggies will reset their offense. Dumping it forward, getting on the end of it, that was Saldana, who couldn't quite get all the way there. Duchess is following him. Weber State to Izadi. Izadi dumps it into the corner. Maintains onside. Here's Alonzo with the puck. Aggies poking at it. Can't get the stick on it fully. Izadi again. Plays it off to James. Takes the shot. It's handled well there by Titan Anderson. Anderson that comes off the leg pads once again. 2 shots here early for the Weber State Wildcats. Utah State looks to outlet. Taking it across center ice, dumping it forward. Chasing it is Saldana. Picked up by James. James will play it off to his alternates. Here's Izadi again. Taking it across center ice now is Hunter as he's immediately picked up there by the Aggies. I believe that's Wallace who was trying to pressure that one before it could get across the blue line. That would have been great ice positioning there for the Aggies. Ref got in the way of both of the players there as couldn't quite stay on the feet there, the ref. Big hit there, an open ice shot, and it goes off the leg pads and just wide of Titan Anderson. Here's Hunter again, taking it around backside of the net. Plays it to Artukovic. Artukovic surveys, plays it off to James. James takes that shot. Great coverage there by Titan Anderson. We have some jostling already going ahead. Once again, these two teams, they play each other plenty of times throughout the season, once during preseason, then about 3 more times, and we actually have a player going to the box. It looks like it's going to be Jack LaFontaine. I think he's going to get unnecessary roughness here in a situation. No, it's going to be a cross-check there, cross-check on LaFontaine. That'll put the Aggies on the penalty kill at 15:30 left to play here in the first period. Face off to the right-hand side of Titan Anderson. Weber State comes away with the puck. They'll look to spread that puck around, trying to find some people. Here's Hunter. Hunter plays it off. Good defense there by the Aggies as they force him up against the wall. That was Bogan on that one. Shot in the back of the net. That's going to be Weber State. Weber State striking first. I'm not quite sure who had the goal. Looks like it was Hunter. Hunter comes away with that first one. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that had to happen there, but once again, Aggies down a man in that situation, and that back post was just wide open. Titan Anderson makes the initial save, but it reflects directly into the path of Hunter, who just slides it right in. Weber State comes away with the faceoff, but it's immediately taken by Utah State. Dumped into the corner, chasing it now are the Aggies. Here's Jackson Ferry. Forced up against the wall. Aggies can't quite keep control as Mattingly gets ahead of the puck there and dumps it into the backside of the net. Bullock trying to fight for it with Freegang. Deep into the corner, both teams trying to shovel that punch out. Lots of physicality. We have both bodies hitting the floor at the moment. Mader comes away with it. Aggies will fight for it. Playing it forward, that was Bynan. Bynan couldn't quite get a possession on it or make the pass. Here's, once again, shot comes off of the blocker there of Titan Anderson, and the Aggies will turn on the Jets. Here's Jackson Ferry. And they're going to call it offsides as just barely we had another Aggie who had just crossed that blue line before anything could happen. 1-0 if you're just joining us here. Game 1 of Military Appreciation Night in honor of the veterans. We have plenty of veterans here in the crowd tonight. Plenty of veterans actually are season ticket holders for Utah State, so it's always nice to see them here and honor them for their service. Face off on the left-hand side in the neutral zone. Weber State will come away with that. Here's James dumping it forward. Trying to get on the end of it is Takatani, who can't get there. But Hughes is there to sweep it up. And the refs will call that one dead for an offsides. Aggie fans, once again, happy to have you, and don't be sleeping on the Aggies. Next week we have 4 games as the Beehive Showcase will be taking off. Utah State hosting 4 of those games. It's a great time. If you've never been to a Utah State game, there's no better time, and there's 4 different ones to choose from, no matter what you decide. You can go to the football game and go to the hockey game. Here's James playing it for Weber State. Surveys his options, dumps it to Takatani. Takatani dumps it across into the corner. This will be picked up here by the Aggies. It looks like it's Jack LaFontaine on the end of it. Forced up against the corner once again. Aggies can't quite get control of possession here at the moment. Being hounded there by the Weber State Wildcats on every touch at the moment. Jackson Ferry couldn't quite get on the end of that, and that should be an easy icing call. .19 left here in the first period of action. 1-0 is the scoreline. Goal by Cade Hunter just a few moments ago. Utah State wins that face-off, but it's picked off there by the Wildcats. Wildcats are very aggressive on the offensive zone at the moment. Utah State having a hard time putting together any possession at the moment. Here's Ramsey trying to get the puck away, trying to find the stick of LaFontaine. LaFontaine wasn't quite there, though. Here's Ramsey again. Forced up against the glass. Picked out there. Aggies find some outlet space. Here's Pierce playing into the cross. Around the backside of the net. Now we'll go into the crowd. Once again, if you are ever here at the George S. Eccles Ice Arena, the nets don't cover the entire rink, so it's very, very important that you keep your head on a swivel here. I have seen people get hit with pucks when they're here. It doesn't look good. We've almost had a puck hit us up here in the broadcast booth. It kind of flew right past me missed me by about 4 inches. Otherwise, I'd be an old man with a knee brace on at the moment. Always a good time. Left side of Hirschfield's goal line here. Weber State comes away with the puck. Dumping it forward. That should be an easy icing call there. Nope. Refs will call that one off of a touch. Just barely off of the stick of one of the Aggies. Aggies taking it across center ice. Artukovic, however, will take control of that puck, finding Hunter. Here come the Wildcats. Forcing into the corner. Aggies great defense there, but no one's there on the end of it to start any transitional possession. Here's Bullock playing it forward for the captain. That's Norwood. Norwood turns on the Jets. Cross. Here's a shot. Comes off of the leg pads of Titan Anderson and goes wide. Weber State maintains possession. Here's Norwood again. Aggies will take control of the puck there, but taken down immediately over by the face-off circle. And here's a shot on net. Put wide, actually, there. That was Hunter again trying to add to his account for tonight. Weber State will finish their line change, and the Aggies will turn on the Jets and start possession. Taking it across center ice there. That was Morris. Utah State will hold on to it here. Not a whole lot of options, and Utah State takes that shot, and it goes right into the gloves of Hirschfield. Shot coming from Jack Wallace on that one. Boy, Brett, what are you seeing right now from your angle? I know that I'm kind of blocking your view a bit, but to me, Utah State's having a hard time putting together any possession. Yeah,
they're in their defensive zone way too much. They need to get up into the offensive zone, and they're not going to get any goals if we don't get into the offensive goal.
Absolutely. Utah State takes that shot. Great acrobatic catch there by Hirschfield. A little bit of signs of life potentially here for the Aggies. And that should take us right back over to the left side of Hirschfield's glove. 11-12 left here in the first period. Weber State comes away with the puck. Here's Mattingly taking it across center ice. Mattingly takes that shot, but it comes off of the legs of Baum. Utah State will try and recover. Wallace tries to recover that puck, but before that could happen, James took a shot from distance. Weber State maintains possession. James calling for it. Playing it into the mixer. That comes off of the leg pads there of Titan Anderson once again. Cleared easily by the Aggies. That should be an easy icing call. Yeah, as we said earlier, Weber State, they're having a great season. As a Utah State student and a Utah State fan, I try to be as objective as humanly possible on my broadcasts. And man, Weber State, they're having a great season, and I can't deny that. So Utah State has a big hill to be climbing here, even though they're only down 1-0 at the moment. But Utah State needs to figure something out as far as offense is concerned, as that puck goes right into the backside of the net. Utah State trying to get a hold of it. Here's Wallace now. Wallace will try and juke around. James can't quite do it, though. Forced up against the wall. Big hit there behind the net. Here come the Aggies, however. Here's Wallace. Looks for some options. Plays it across for Gifford. Gifford takes that shot, and it goes wide just barely. It comes off of the net a little bit. We had some fans cheer as if it had gone in the back of the net, but it did not. Here's LaFontaine. Plays it forward for Baum. Or Bynum, sorry, my bad. Takes the shot, and it comes right off the chest of Hirschfield. Hirschfield couldn't hold on to it, however, and he'll dump that one all the way into center ice, and it'll be picked up by Ramsey. Ramsey ends up finding the pads there of one of his fellow teammates. Like I said, some of these numbers are a bit harder to see. They're camouflaged tonight. Here's Alonzo taking it through a couple Aggies. Utah State will take possession. Taking it across center ice. LaFontaine couldn't quite make that pass. Ramsey tries to get on the end of it, and we have a bit of a 3v2 situation, but an errant pass comes back into the possession of the Aggies. Morris to LaFontaine. Back the round side of the net. Utah State turning on the Jets a little bit, putting together some good offense here. Here's Bynum. Finds Ferry. That'll take a deflection out, and Utah State will have to reset their offense as they play it up to LaFontaine. They're going to call that offsides, as Freegang was just barely offsides, maybe by about a good foot, before LaFontaine decided to try and advance. Utah State will complete a line change. Looks like we have Jensen, Ferry, Pierce, Bogan, and Sanborn on the ice. Sanborn across from Hunter. Hunter, the goal scorer, wins that face-off, plays it to Bullock. Deflection off of the pass. That should not be an icing. Bogan forced up against the wall. Play that away. Ferry will track it. Not before the Wildcats get a hold of it. Utah State gaining possession. Here's Jackson Ferry. Tries to get around his defender. Can't quite do it. Utah State caught themselves a little bit stretched thin for a second there, but some good last-second defense there by Bogan keeps it going, but Weber State's on the attack. Here's Hunter once again. Tries to play it into the mixer. It comes off of the foot there of Bogan. Jensen trying to get a hold of it. There's a shot. Takes some good deflection there off of the defenseman, and Titan Anderson's able to just pounce onto that puck. .756 here left in the first period. Face-off will be coming from the right-hand side of Titan Anderson. Looks like we have Sanborn on that face-off. Weber State wins it again. I think Utah State's only won maybe 2 of those so far. Walton gets taken down. And here comes the Wildcats once again. Here's Mattingly. He's going to try and take this all by himself. 1v1 for the moment. He waits for support. Here's Once again, Weber State still pressuring. James dumps it forward. Back to the other side to a different James. Be curious to know if they're brothers in this situation. James once again takes that shot wide. Mater almost had a chance on that one as he had a good look on the open net, but a good deflection keeps that puck away from him just barely. Saldana chases down that puck, but Weber State will maintain possession as they take it across center ice. Mater loses it, and Pilgrim's trying to get possession, and Utah State will come away with this one. Here's LaFontaine. Dumping it forward. Here's Pilgrim. Pilgrim takes it into the offensive zone. Loses it to Reed. Reed will take it across center ice now. Here comes the Wildcats. He's got Hughes and Takatani for support. Nolan Gifford comes to help out with that scrum in the corner. Lots of physicality here. If you're hearing anything over the broadcast, we have lots of students here in the crowd tonight, so you're going to hear plenty of crowd interaction tonight. Reed will chase this one down, being chased here by Gifford. Pilgrim, big hit on Reed as that puck travels safely into the possession of the Aggies. Dumping it forward, here's Wallace. Wallace takes it into the offensive zone, leaves it for Bynan. Back to Wallace. Cross into the crease there for Gifford. Gifford wasn't quite there. Great read there by Takatani. Artukovic will take it up. He's got space. Dumps it into the corner. Titan Anderson sees that one all the way, but he's got to get back into his crease. Crisis averted. Here's Bullock trying to keep control of that puck, and we'll get an offsides call from the ref there. 5:28 left here on the first period. Once again, if you're joining us, my name is Brian Kirk. Joining me tonight is Brett Vabel. He's a fan. I'd say you guys are essentially season ticket holders here at the games. We're running a bit thin on production tonight, so we're happy to have him helping us out. We also have Sam on camera tonight. So once again, very thankful for the help as we have Stockton and Brooks are both away. Here we go. We have Bynan who will take that shot, and it comes off of the legs there of Hirschfield. Utah State looks to keep this play alive, however. Taken down. Fans want a penalty. They're not going to get it. Here's Hooley. Plays it across. Shot one time. That goes right into the gloves there of Titan Anderson. Great save once again. Still have an errant stick on the ground. It looks like we have two 23s on Utah State today, which is a little confusing. I don't want to call both of them Jackson Ferry, but if I have to, I will. Well, what's nice is at least Jackson Ferry came on to replace the other Jackson Ferry tonight. Utah State lining up across this one, wins that face-off, but it immediately gets taken there by the Wildcats. Wildcats keep it in play, but it's picked off there by LaFontaine. LaFontaine will chip it up towards center ice, allowing Utah State to kind of make some sort of play on it. Pierce trying to get around his defenseman there, couldn't quite get there. Here's Sanborn. Picks up a slow pass from the Wildcats. Ramsey takes that shot. It goes high and wide. Utah State manages to hold on to it just for a moment, though. Utah State still on the attack. Weber State will clear that one, but Utah State manages to keep it inside the offensive zone. And here comes the Wildcats taking possession. Cross center ice. Here's Alonzo. Alonzo takes that shot. Not sure that Titan Anderson saw that one all the way, but it goes just wide of his net. Off of the wall here, trying to set up Jackson Ferry. Jackson Ferry can't get on the end of it, though. Norwood plays it across to his defenseman. That's Cooper James with the puck. Plays it back to Parker James, apologies. To Norwood. Norwood plays it around a couple players, takes it around the backside of the net. Plays it off to James. James almost loses the puck, manages to keep it onside. Here's Pilgrim. Apologies, Wallace. Wallace has a 1v1 opportunity, takes a shot, and it goes right into Hirschfield. Hirschfield lets go of the puck, plays it off to Klokov. Bit more signs of life here. 3:12 left here in the first period. Utah State trying to put it together here. Utah State manages to get it across their center ice. Playing it forward, off to Bynum. Hirschfield saw that one the entire way as Bynum took a quick little touch there, ends up into the glove of Hirschfield.
So we got a little update from the chat. The Jameses are brothers.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic. Glad to hear it. It's kind of fun when we have two brothers playing on the same team. Thank you very much for that chat there. Free Gang lining up across from, can't see a number or a name at the moment. So, lining up across from a Wildcat. Wildcats come away with that one. Free Gang tries to take the shot, but fans on it. Plays it around the backside of the net. Here's Bynon trying to set up Bogan, who isn't there. Great stretch pass there for Weber State. Weber State turns on the Jets. Will have a chance on net here, and it comes off of the leg pads of Titan Anderson. Once again, takes the shot, and it's Verschier. Couldn't quite get a hold of it there as Free Gang, but Mater is there to pick it up there and give it off to Artukovic. Artukovic takes that shot, comes off of the leg pads of one of the Aggies, and we're going to have ourselves a penalty, it looks like. Unsure who at the moment. Looks like it'll be number 4. That's Luke Artukovic going to the box. I'll give you an update. It looks like it might have been a cross check, maybe a hook. We'll see what the ref says. It'll be an interference on that one. That puts your Aggies on the first power play for themselves on the night. Aggies have been pretty successful on the power play as of late, scoring 2 times against the skating Utes in their last matchup against the Utes here at the George S. Eccles Ice Arena. Weber State comes away with that one. Here's Bullock. Bullock will try and dump that one. Staying on it here is LaFontaine. We have 4 players packing up against this one. Not sure who has the puck at the moment. That comes away. Here comes the Aggies. Here's Sanborn. Shot. Ooh, that was a great play there. Trying to find the 5-hole shot there. But Hirschfield was able to just cover that one up just in time. I'll give you that shot in just a second. Looks like it's Sam Pfeiffer on that one. Looks like a 23. It's actually a 29. Camouflage numbers. I'm not saying it's a bad idea because they were really good, snazzy-looking jerseys, but for us broadcasters, it's definitely a little bit harder to see who is who. That puck makes its way to LaFontaine. LaFontaine wasn't quite anticipating that back pass, so Utah State's going to have to reset the puck. Here's Sanborn. Sanborn surveys some options, takes it around the backside of the net. He's got Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer looks around, plays it to Ferry. Ferry dumps it into the mix to LaFontaine. Over to Pierce. Pierce looks to shoot. Can't quite get it off. Tries to find Pfeiffer, can't quite get there. It goes to Ferry instead. Back to Pfeiffer. Great little touch there to keep it alive. 9 seconds separate the game clock from the penalty clock as we're moving into the final moments here, the final minute here of the first period. Norwood comes away with this one. He'll play it around the backside of the net. Ramsey will come and shepherd it away. Can't quite get on the end of it, and here comes the Wildcats. We have a 3v1 situation. Klokov takes the shot and it goes up into the backside netting. Crisis definitely averted there for the Aggies. On the power play there, gets caught with the odd man rush, and we had a 3v1 situation. Definitely don't want to see that happening if you're an Aggies fan. But luckily, took a bit of a deflection over the goal, keeping him safe. 47.3 seconds left here. 7:55 is local time. Face-off coming from the left-hand side of Titan Anderson. Goal scorer, Cade Hunter, will line up across from, it looks like Free Gang. Free Gang will come away with that one. Playing it off here. 41 seconds left. Outlet pass to Bynan. Utah State. Free Gang taking it across center ice. Has some options. Elects to take it around himself. Forced up against the walls. Here's Bynan. Shot. Ooh, that was a great shot there by Ramsey. Another follow-up shot. Refs will call that one as there was a bit of a collision between players. It's Teague Pilgrim. And we have some punches thrown. That was between James and Teague Pilgrim. Pilgrim's not quite done yet. He's got words. Teague Pilgrim's got to watch himself as he's at least going to go to the box. Teague Pilgrim gets the crowd into it with a lot of physicality. Also, we'll have offsetting penalties here as number 21, Cooper James, is going to find himself in the box as well. Both players, I mean, I saw punches flying on both sides, so yeah. You're not allowed to fight in this Division II ACHA hockey, but tempers flame over, especially when you're playing against your rivals, so it will happen. We have both Norwood and Pierce standing there trying to talk to the refs here, getting a bit more context as to what's going on. I'm not sure exactly what needs to be discussed. Both teams really find themselves the guilty party in this situation. I could see how Pilgrim might have a case in the sense that I think the initial contact against Hirschfield was unintentional, but as a defenseman, you always want to make sure you keep your players under control, keep your keeper safe as well. So it's not very uncommon to see your defenseman kind of take a shove against one of the winger players or the center. So what are your thoughts so far, Brett? We're coming down to the final moments here.
I think Weber's playing an aggressive game. They're on top of Utah State. With an undefeated team, that's not a surprise. Like I said before, they just need to get it out of their defensive zone into the offensive zone.
Yeah, it seems like Utah State just seems a little bit slower than Weber State as well, which definitely doesn't help. But I wouldn't say Utah State's they're not out of this by any means. If you remember the last time these two teams played, Weber State got an early lead. I want to say like a 2 or 3 goal lead, but Utah State was able to strike back quick in the second period and even that one up. And Weber State ended up being the victors in those games, but it did come down to the wire in that game. So I wouldn't be surprised if it kind of happens here as well. Face off to the left-hand side. Hunter wins that one. Utah State comes away with it, however. Here's Ramsey. Plays it to Free Gang. Back to Ramsey. Tries to play it in, fans on it. Here's a shot, goes right into Hirschfield. Hirschfield loses that one, but they call it dead before it was fully in his control. To me, it looks like a bit of a different officiating crowd tonight. Not the same usual suspects that we see here at the George S. Eccles Ice Arena. Happy to see different refs in the game tonight. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. 6.4 seconds left here on the clock. Utah State does have a chance. If they can win this face-off and just get a shot off, they could have a chance on the net. But you got to win that face-off first, and Weber State's been real good. And that should do it here for us as Free Gang tries to get the puck off, but Hughes and Takatani were just all over that puck there, and Utah State will go into the locker room down 1 goal to the Weber State Wildcats. We have plenty of hockey left ahead of us, but Brett, what do you think? What kind of adjustments do you think need to be made by the Aggies in order to cancel out the speed of Weber State?
Better passing. The passing doesn't seem like it's there. They need to come out and be aggressive. That's all. That's what boils down to, is they need to be aggressive.
They need to match that intensity. I would absolutely agree with that. We have plenty of stuff ahead of us. We'll go into the locker room 1-0. We'll be back in about 15 minutes after the cut of the ice. Once again, you are listening to Utah State Hockey, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, hockey fans, to the second period here for the Utah State Aggies versus Weber State Wildcats in Game 1 of Military Appreciation Night. Once again, very happy to have you here joining us this evening. One thing I forgot to mention here on the broadcast is we actually have a new feature for anyone that's joining us in the crowd. We actually have a local AM frequency set up so that if you're inside of this, inside the George S. Eccles Ice Arena and you have a AM radio signal, you can actually tap into 1620 AM and you can hear us. We can hear our our play-by-play broadcast as it's happening. Usually when you're watching it on YouTube, there's a slight delay when that happens, and that gives us a bit more of a live feeling to it. So obviously, if you're listening to this, you're more than likely at home, but I do see occasionally we do have people that bring their headphones and like to listen to us. But now we have the option to tap into that radio signal within the George S. Eccles Ice Arena to get live as it's happening. So once again, that's 1620 AM. Very, very excited to have that. We have plenty of support from a lot of the fans here, especially Friend, our great longtime fan, season ticket holder. Happy to have him and his support for us as puck drop is just around the corner. Once again, my name is Brian Kirk. Joining me is Brett Vabel, and on camera is Sam. Once again, Sam, this is our first time on camera for us before, so hockey is a very, very fast-moving sport. She's picking it up very nicely as well, so appreciate the patience with her this evening from the chat. So Utah State loses that face-off, and immediately the Weber State Wildcats are on the attack. They get a shot off, but it goes just high and wide of Titan Anderson. Utah State picks up the puck. Dumping it forward, trying to get on the end of it is Ramsey. Ramsey can't get there, though, but here's Pilgrim. No, apologies, that's Wallace. Wallace is fighting for his life over there, trying to keep that puck in the offensive zone for the Aggies. Jack LaFontaine trying to get on the end of it. He gets on the end of it here. Looks to turn on the Jets, has some options. He's got Bynum. He takes a shot. Instead, it goes off of the leg pads of Hirschfield, and it's picked up by the Wildcats. That'll go all the way into the defensive zone as LaFontaine is able to track that one back. Bynum can't quite get on the end of it. He's going to have to fight for this one with James. Weber State comes away with that puck, but not before it gets all the way back to Bynum. Weber State turning on the Jets here. Here's Theed, but they're going to call him offsides. He had two Weber State Wildcats there who were just offsides in that situation by about a good 3 feet in that situation. That'll bring the puck into the neutral zone. Utah State makes a line change. We got Jensen, Pierce, Ferry, and that should be Sanborn. Correct, that is Sanborn. Oh, and Bogan, Garrett Bogan over there. Utah State comes away with that puck. Jensen plays it forward, trying to find Jackson Ferry. Forces up a Weber State Wildcat into the wall there, but Weber State's going to come away with the puck. As here comes Mater. Mater will take that shot, comes in and out of the glove there of Titan Anderson. Utah State comes the other way. Here's Sanborn. Sanborn takes it around himself. He's going to take a shot, comes off of the shoulder there of Hirschfield. Utah State manages to keep control. Weber State will pick it up, dump it into center ice. They'll finish a line change. Here's Bynum. Plays it for Tate. Tate plays it forward for Freegang. Freegang will chase it around the backside of the net, holds on to it. Cuts around, gets forced up. He's hooked a little bit there, but not enough to make a call in that situation. Bynum trips himself up. And here comes Mater. Mater had a great chance on net there, but it was a good touch by the Aggies to keep that one from being in real danger. Here comes Bynum again. He's going to try and split two Wildcats, loses the puck in the process. That puck will go into the crowd. Just behind, we have some kids chasing it down. Always fun. Well, if you're just joining us here in this second period, once again, the first period was a very physical one. Weber State was very, very fast throughout the course of that one. They managed to strike first as Cade Hunter scoring the first goal, making it 1-0 in favor of the Wildcats. Utah State wins the initial faceoff, but it's a 50-50 puck, and Weber State will come away with it. Here's Hughes. Hughes getting around, takes a shot. It goes off of the post there, manages to stay out. Logan Baum couldn't quite keep control. There's a shot from Hughes again, but that one's just wide. Hughes fighting for it, manages to hold on to it. He's got Hooley for support. Utah State, good little piece of possession there, and Freegang will take it into the offensive zone. Fighting for it here is Sam Pfeiffer. Shot. Oh, and that's covered up well by Hirschfield. Good threatening attack there by the Aggies. A little bit of physicality there in front of the Weber State net. But Freegang holds his player back and makes sure to keep cooler heads in that situation. I'm sure the physicality will ramp itself back up as we start to lose time in this situation. 16:40 left here on the second period. 8:23 is local time.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Titan Anderson. He's doing an awesome job tonight.
Absolutely. He's got a lot to deal with tonight. Weber State takes it across center ice. Getting on the end of it is Alonzo. Wallace trying his best to defend as hard as humanly possible. James takes that shot and it gets snagged out of the air by Titan Anderson. Saw that one the entire way. He and Azadi are having some words. Looks like it's friendly words at that. So, you know, a lot of these players, they've played with each other for quite a while. You know, at some point you just have to make the decision. I'm going to Utah State. I'm going to the University of Utah. Or I'm going to Weber State. And at that point, your friends become your enemies. It's kind of interesting. Utah State comes away with that one. Here's Teague Pilgrim. Teague Pilgrim looks his way. He's got Wallace for support. Teague plays it off to Wallace. Wallace gets forced up into the glass and onto the ground. Jack LaFontaine tries to get possession, but if he kept going, it would have been an offsides call, so he lets it fly across the blue line. Pass up to Azadi. It was a good stretch pass. Manages to keep it onside for Weber State. Norwood. Apologies, that's Louch. James to Norwood. Up to Hunter, the goal scorer. Tracking it behind the net will be LaFontaine. LaFontaine plays it forward. Finds Gifford. Gifford plays it up. Finds Jackson Ferry. Jackson Ferry plays it across, but it takes a deflection off of Theed's skate. Comes into the path of Hunter. Weber State takes it across. Puts together some possession. That puck goes just wide, though, and out of reach for the Wildcats, and that'll be an icing call. $15-19 left here in the second period. Big sold-out crowd here at the Eccles for Game 1 of Military Appreciation Night. If you are in the chat and you happen to be a veteran, or if you know that someone that is a veteran, we thank you for the support that you've done for this country. It's a very, very important thing. Shot came there from, that was Bogan who took that shot, but it goes right into the leg pads. Klochkov takes a deflection there on the way through, but Weber State maintains possession. Alonzo tries to get on the end of it. Back to Klochkov. And here comes Bogan. Bogan, he's got help. That's Baum. Plays across the crease, no one there to fish it. Dumped in, Aggies will complete a line change. Here's Alonzo. Sorry, Klochkov again. Sorry about that. Dumps it into the corner. Up and around the glass. This will be a good play here for the Aggies. Good move by Bynum to get away. Freegang will have a chance on net. It's shot, and then it goes into the gloves there of Hirschfield. Hirschfield saw that one pretty much the entire way. There wasn't quite enough spice on the end of that one to keep it going. We have Zach Pierce going off of the ice along with Cale Samuels. Unsure what's going on there. .8:27 local time here. Face-off coming to the left-hand side of Hirschfield. Hirschfield has 3 defensemen blocking his view at the moment. Lining up across. It's Reese Bynan standing across from Norwood. Sorry, Corey Mader on that. The ref will switch that one out in favor of Verschier. Utah State wins that. Can't get on the end of it, however. Aggies trying to make a pass, comes off of the skate of a ref. Weber State plays that one forward. Good stretch pass, but it takes a deflection on its way through. Free Gang tries to get a hold of it. Mooney forces his defenseman up against the wall. Bullock played off the glass. 2v2 situation here. Cade Hunter will have a shot on net. Ooh, that's a dangerous one as it comes off of the legs there of Bynan. Utah State recovers, plays it through the center ice. A bit too high up in the air as it comes back to the Weber State Wildcats. Manages to stay on side. He looked like it was a little bit offsides in that situation, but that's okay. LaFontaine will come away with it. Dumping it forward, trying to find the stretch pass to Bynan. No one is there. Weber State will play this one forward. Takatani trying to get on the end of it. He'll make it away around Reese Bynan. There's Pilgrim. Plays it forward to Free Gang. Free Gang has Pilgrim. Looking for it, asking for it. Trying to get the shot off. That's Wallace. Boy, Utah State's having a hard time getting shots off at the moment. So we're just about 8 minutes into this second period here. 1-0 is our score line. Still shot on net there. That was Jack Wallace. Wallace not afraid to take that shot. Had a game winner not too long ago against Montana State. It's good to see a little bit of aggression here from the Aggies, trying to get something going. Wallace picks it up. Gets deflected away. Ramsey dumps it into the corner. Utah State will complete a line change as Pilgrim follows it. Jackson Ferry will play it across the crease. No one there to collect it. Hit up against the wall. That was Ty Morris. Weber State plays it forward to Reed. Reed lays it off for Alonzo. Alonzo tries to turn on the Jets, trips up an Aggie on the way through. Another Aggie gets tripped up on the way through. No call. Laux dumps it into the corner. Aggies trying to have a hard time as they're just kind of fanning on all the passes at the moment. Ferry plays it off of the glass, and Utah State will recover. Off the glass here to Ferry once again. Ferry has some options. He's got Saldana. Saldana calls for it, doesn't get on the end of it. Bynan. Pushed up against the corner. That one's dumped all the way across for Laux, and that will go into the Weber State bench. Good to see Pierce and Cale Samuels back through. Unsure exactly why they went off the ice and over to the locker room, but they're back here, so everything must be all right. Face-off coming to the left-hand side of Titan Anderson's net. Free Gang lines up, wins that one against Hunter. Utah State maintains possession, but very quick on it and aggressive are the Wildcats. Theed gets away from it. This will be picked up here by Mooney. Mooney, outlet pass, finds Baum. Theed there to shepherd it forward for Norwood. Norwood tries to play it off to Hunter. Can't get there. Utah State played forward. That was Pfeiffer. Can't connect the pass, however. Big hit there over by the blue line. Hunter. Back to Theed. Theed holds on to it, manages to keep it onside. Hunter commits the body there. That was Sam Pfeiffer. And Utah State will turn on the Jets. Here's Freegang. Tries to get the pass off, and there will be a penalty call here against Weber State. We'll have to wait and see what the call is. It's a bit too far away for me to see, but it looks like it's going to be Cade Hunter maybe going to the box, as he's the one discussing with the ref and making his way over. See what the ref says. That'll be for a slash. 2 minutes for a slash. That puts Hunter into the box. Aggies go back on the power play. This is a great chance for them to level this one out, but they got to get through the quick, aggressive wall that is Weber State at the moment. Ramsey dumps that one all the way back. Weber State loses a stick first and shot. Comes off of Hirschfield. Now it's played all the way over to Titan Anderson. Titan Anderson will recover. Leaves it for his defenseman. LaFontaine turns on the Jets. LaFontaine's not afraid to become an offensive player at any point in time. Plays it off for Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer will play that one into the mix. No one is there. Here's Ramsey once again. Playing it off. Weber State, Takatani. He'll dump that one all the way through, jumping up into the air. That was LaFontaine. They'll blow it dead. Nope. No, they don't. That was a late whistle there. It's all the players kind of expect that one to get blown dead. Maybe they'll call that a hand pass in that situation. As LaFontaine left the ground to smack that one down onto the ice. Utah State with their offensive heavy line out there. Zach Pierce in the 100-point club, along with Jackson Ferry, who also joins him. LaFontaine plays it forward. Finds Gifford. Forced up against the wall by James. It comes away with it. This is Jackson Ferry. Shot! Ooh, and that comes off of the post and just goes wide. Hirschfield did not see that one coming, but it was very lucky for them. Pierce looks to shoot. Plays it to LaFontaine. LaFontaine fans on the pass. Back to LaFontaine. He's got Pierce. Pierce is calling for it. He wants a one-timer. Takes a shot. It comes off the leg pads. Follow-up shot. Goes wide. Zach Pierce holds on to it. Keeps it onside for the Aggies. Plays it over to Jack LaFontaine. LaFontaine fans on the shot. Back to Pierce. Pierce will take the shot. It comes off of James and up and into the back netting. Zach Pierce looks a little frustrated after that one. 21 seconds left here on the penalty clock. 8:34 left here on the game clock.
Yeah, we got some helpful fans on the chat.
What are you seeing?
Describing what happens when the face-off, when they exchange players. They kick a player out.
Yeah, I think it's if someone encroaches into the circle, they can kind of kick that person out and switch them out for it. So you have like an alternate face-off artist is kind of how I've been explained to in those situations. It's an interesting rule. Utah State, 10 seconds left here on the power play. They get a shot off, but it goes off of the leg pads. That was Freegang on that shot. And this should end the... Ooh. Weber State tries to dump that puck ahead, but it comes off of a ref. They blow it dead in that situation. I think they'll have a face-off in the neutral zone. Ref tried to get out of the way, but just took it right to the side. He kind of got up. It looked like it stung him a little bit. You know, I didn't grow up playing hockey, Brett, but I can't imagine taking a hockey puck anywhere on the body is particularly comfortable.
No, it is not.
Weber State comes away with that one. Here's Theed. Plays it back to his defenseman. Dumps it forward. Deflection on the way through. Utah State comes away with it. And they'll turn it on. Here comes Freegang. Freegang's got A chance on net. He loses track. Artukovic had committed to getting rid of that puck. Comes out of its crease, but no one on the other end of it as Utah State had a wide open net. Utah State's going to get called for a boarding or a cross check here. We got a little bit of extracurriculars going on. And we have a Wildcat on the ground still. Looks like he's okay. We'll see what the exact call is, but there's definitely going to be an Aggie going to the box. It looks like it's Braden Mooney. Braden Mooney's headed to the box. It's probably going to be a cross check. It was a pretty hard hit, and we have number 11. That's Simon Verschier, who's still on the ground at the moment, and we have Sam, the athletic trainer, making her way over to give him a look over. It was a hard hit right up against the wall. He was kind of crouched a little bit.
Yeah,
that's not going to feel good.
Yeah, that'll be your classic boarding call right there.
Yep. Well, it's still 1-0 in favor of the Wildcats. Utah State will go on the penalty kill. So not good for the Aggies in that situation, but happy to see that Verschier is up and moving. He makes his way over to the bench. Maybe he just got the wind knocked out of him just a little bit there. Utah State manages to keep the score line the same as it is. I would say there's been a little less for Titan Anderson to worry about in this period so far, Brett, but it's there's still plenty of time for hockey. Hooley comes away with this one. They'll look to play the possession game. Here's Kloshkov to Hunter, back to Kloshkov to Hooley. Takes the shot, comes off the leg pads from Titan Anderson. Jack Wallace tries to get on the end of it. Poking the stick through, can't get through all the way. Hooley, good turnaround. Looks for some options. Teague Pilgrim can't quite clear that one. And Hooley holds on. Utah State holding some good defense at the moment. Hunter's calling for it. Deflection there by Ramsey. No, sorry, Free Gang on that one. Kloshkov to Hooley. Back to Kloshkov. They're trying to break down the Utah State defense. Playing it through into the crease. Weber State retreats. Over to Hunter, the goal scorer. Shot comes off of the leg pads of Titan Anderson. Good defense there by the Aggies. But they got to maintain. Weber State putting on the pressure at the moment. 6:30 left here. 45 seconds left on the power play. Utah State fans making their presence known, cheering on their squad. Here's Hunter. Takes the shot. Oh, and that's in the back of the net. Hunter with his second goal of the game here. That'll be another power play goal for Weber State. Yeah, sometimes that possession just kind of breaks you down, and there was just enough of a gap there in Titan Anderson's net. And Cade Hunter just slots it on through. He's having himself a good night. Utah State's having a hard time finding the back of the nets. Hirschfield's having himself a good night. Got to give it to him. 6:15 left here in the second period. 2-0 is our score line in favor of the Weber State Wildcats. Currently undefeated. As a Utah State broadcast, we definitely would love to see Utah State win, but can't deny right now. Weber State's a good team this season. Weber State comes away with this puck. Both teams back at full strength. Chipped up and over. And that'll go into the backside netting there. And we will have a neutral zone face-off here. They're going to play it here in the center. Free Gang lines up across from Alonzo. Utah State will come away with it, but Merritt is fast on that puck, gets on the end of it. Izadi Gets forced up into the glass. Utah State will turn around and come the other way. Here's Free Gain. Tries to get through, gets onto the puck. Coming away with it are the Aggies still. Playing it across the crease. There's no one there to get on the end of it. Here's Jensen. Jensen plays it into the mixer. The Utah State can't keep the possession. Possession's been a real tough thing for the Aggies tonight. Merritt takes a shot, goes off the blocker pads there of Titan Anderson. And we will have ourselves a penalty here, as I think there's going to be an interference play there. I think it's going to be Alonzo that heads to the box. He took a shot onto, I think it was Owen Ramsey. No, number 2. Apologies. That's Garrett Bogan. He tripped up Garrett Bogan right in front of Titan Anderson's net. That'll put the Aggies back on the power play. They got to really capitalize on these situations. This is the 3rd time the Aggies have been on the power play. They just have not been able to convert on anything. Weber State's tough opponent. 5:21 left here in the second period. If you're just joining us, Cade Hunter slotted in his second goal of the night to make it 2-0 in favor of the visiting Wildcats. Weber State initially comes away with it. Big hit there. That was an elbow to the face. Refs aren't going to call it, though. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. Here's LaFontaine. Plays it to Ramsey. Shot. Doesn't make itself all the way through. Jackson Ferry takes it around the backside of the net. He's got Ramsey. Ramsey takes it forward to Ferry, to no one. Weber State will clear that one. Utah State manages to keep that one in play. Great play there by Sanborn to keep that one on sides. Here's Pierce. Pierce to LaFontaine. LaFontaine to Ferry. Shot. And that one takes a deflection. It flies over. Utah State continues to hold on to it. Here's Ramsey to Sanborn to Ferry. Across the crease. Zach Pierce takes a shot. It comes off of the chest of Hirschfield. He'll follow. Zach Pierce had a chance there, but fans on the shot. Gets tripped up a little bit. Zach Pierce again. Takes it around. Gets hit up there. Here's Jackson Ferry once again. Looks to outlet pass. Finds Zach Pierce again. To Jackson Ferry. Ferry can't get the shot off, but he holds on to the puck. Zach Pierce again. Looks to shoot. Hesitates. Gets it over to LaFontaine. 15 seconds left on the power play. Ferry takes it around the backside of the net. Tries to find Sanborn. Can't get there. Back to Pierce. 5 seconds left on the power play. Utah State trying to get a shot off. Can't get there. Power play expires. That one goes off of Hirschfield. Here's a shot. It goes up and high into the back netting. Boy, Utah State, they just cannot get a shot off. They just hesitate too long on that puck, and they can't get the shot off.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know, they need to pick it up. There's still plenty of hockey left to play, but still, they got to pick it up. Weber's a brick wall right now.
Absolutely. They're in front of the puck in every situation possible, making it very difficult for the Aggies to get any kind of possession going for them. Gifford loses that face-off to the Wildcats, but Utah State managed to keep it onside. Here's Wallace. Plays it back to Baum. Baum once again. We have a Weber State Wildcat calling for a penalty, but no one saw anything happen. Klochkov takes a shot from distance. Ends up in the back of the net. You just can't let that goal in. You can't let that one in. That'll make it 3-0 in favor of the visiting Wildcats. Utah State struggling to put the offense together. Can't get back on defense fast enough. That shot just comes off into the back of the net. It's a tough one. Free Gain goes back to console his goaltender. Say, hey, everything's all right. Plenty of hockey left to play, as we stated. 3-0 is a considerable lead, obviously, but there's still plenty of time. Lots of stuff can happen. Utah State does not win that face-off. Weber State comes away with it. Chopping it through. Here's LaFontaine. LaFontaine will take it around the backside of the net. Verschier. Shot comes off of Mater. Free Game loses the puck on the way through. You know, sometimes it's just simple possession. That's all you got to do is keep that simple possession going. Utah State trying to do everything by themselves at the moment, it seems, and that's not going to get you there. High stick is the call here. No collision with any player, so there won't be any penalty on the play. But we will have a face-off here in the neutral zone. It looks like they're gonna take it all the way to the center circle. .207 left here in the second period. Once again, thank you very much for joining this this broadcast this evening, this free live stream. We're always happy to be putting it on for you guys. It's a real pleasure to be, to have the opportunity to bring these games to you guys. I talk to a lot of parents of players, and they always express how much they appreciate the fact that we do these streams. So happy to have your support and continued fandom. Here's Utah State. Around the backside of the net. A little bit of possession here. Utah State tries to get the shot off. Diving onto it is Hirschfield. Manages to hold on to it. Minute 45 left here in the second period. 3-0 is our scoreline. If you're just joining us, Caden Hunter netted the first 2 goals for the Wildcats. Third goal just came from Maker Klochkov not too long ago. Utah State has quite the hill to battle from at the moment, and they will. They absolutely will. We'll see what happens, though. Here's Merritt. Fans on the pass, dumping it forward, trying to get on the end of it there. That was Dylan Walton, but Walton couldn't get a pass off. Here's Merritt coming the other way. Shot comes off the blocker pads. Titan Anderson dumped forward, make its way to Theed. Theed will keep it in the offensive zone for the Wildcats, and then Titan Anderson will just dive on top of that one. I think that's the right decision in that situation. Minute 18 left here. Face-off will come to the right-hand side of the Utah State net. Once again, this is game 1 of Military Appreciation Night. We'll follow it up tomorrow against Utah Valley University. Usually, Utah State wearing special jerseys with the names of some of their families that have served in the military. No names on the back of them tonight. Unsure why that is. Shot comes off. That was Hughes who took the shot. Comes off the leg pads there of Titan Anderson. Weber State holds on to it. Artukovic dumps that one in. Back to Theed. Theed will play it all the way back. Artukovic will dump it. 54 seconds left. Here's Teague Pilgrim. Not enough communication there to keep the passing going, and it looks like we're going to have ourselves, was that a slash it looks like? It'll be a slash on number 25. Yep, that's Reed, Luke Reed on that one. He's going to find himself in the box for a slashing call. That'll put them back, the Aggies back on the power play for the remaining 46.2 seconds, and then into the second period, lest the Utah State Aggies score here. Sanborn lines up across. Aggies trying to get on the end of it. Here's a shot. Hirschfield tries to go for the catch, couldn't get on the end of it. Aggies couldn't shepherd the puck just into the goal. It had a wide open net there, and it looks like it just fell directly onto Hirschfield. Hirschfield just covering it up simply there. Aggies will recycle this one, right-hand side of Hirschfield's net. 40.8 seconds left. LaFontaine to Pierce. Pierce can't get a hold of it. Plays it for Sanborn, who leaves it. LaFontaine will put on the pressure. Zach Pierce gets on the end of it here, tries to keep it going. 23 seconds left here. Bullock makes it as far as Pfeiffer. Pierce back to Pfeiffer. Takes the shot. Safely into the hands of Hirschfield. Hirschfield's had himself a good game. Made the saves that he's needed to make. Had some good, fortunate opportunities there. Just like I said, there was a errant puck right in front of him. He couldn't get the catch, but it ends up landing on him. Aggies can't capitalize on an open net opportunity. Utah State wins that faceoff. Final 10 seconds, that'll get dumped all the way back to Titan Anderson. Anderson might try and dump it forward. 3 seconds. Pierce will shepherd it away. And the Aggies will go into the locker room down 3-0. Bit of a frustrated Utah State team as Weber State comes off with smiles all around. Well, that'll do it for us here in the second period. Happy to have you once again. We'll give you a quick highlight reel once again. Caden Hunter scoring the second goal here in the second period. And then right at the end here, not too long ago, just a couple minutes ago, Maker Kloshkov gets that third goal to further distance themselves from the Aggies. Can Utah State recover from this? You know, history says that they can. You know, in the past, Utah State's been able to kind of build themselves back out of a decline, but it's got to start with that first goal. They got to do something. They got to get some kind of offense going. Otherwise, this is just going to go downhill from here. Brett, what are your thoughts here before we go to break?
I think they kind of picked it up in the second period, not as much as they could have, but like I said, Weber's a tough team.
Absolutely. That'll do it for us here in the second period. Please stick around for us as we come back for the third period. Once again, you are listening to Utah State Hockey. Welcome back, hockey fans, to this third period here at the Military Appreciation Night, Game 1, USU versus Weber State University. 3-0 is the scoreline currently, if you're just joining us. Caden Hunter netted the first goal in the first period. And then the second goal on the night comes from Caden Hunter as well in the second period. And then Maker Klochkov scored the third one to really put the Aggies behind in this situation. Utah State's had a bit of a struggle this game so far, trying to get something going on offense. They've had a couple good opportunities, but they can't just seem to get that final product on goal. So it's a little bit of a struggle, but Utah State does have the power here. They can bring this one back. I know they can. We've all seen it happen. Like we stated back in the first period, back the last time these two teams played, Weber State came out hot, scoring 2 goals pretty dang quick. Utah State was able to level it and even go ahead at one point. So Utah State does have it within them to take control of this game, but it starts with that first goal. Puck drop here, and it's dumped all the way back to Titan Anderson. Once again, Utah State on the power play here still. 1 minute left on that penalty call against Luke Reed. Utah State will bring this one across, dumping it forward, finding Bynan. Here's Freegang. Plays it around the backside of the net, gets it to Bynan, who loses it as the pass goes towards Baum. Baum loses it. He's got some options with Ramsey, but he plays the stretch pass to Freegang. Freegang getting picked up there by James. Really good spin move there by Freegang to keep it alive. To Bynan. Tane. Exit. Utah State taking a shot. That was Jackson Ferry. Shot goes just wide. Tracking all the way back here is Bynan. Good stretch pass to find Ferry. Ferry tries to play it across the crease. I think he should just take that shot, in all honesty. Trying to set up that play all night, but they can't get on the end of it. Sometimes you just got to take that shot. Here's Verschier. Plays across the crease. Shot into the back of the net. That'll be Corey Mader on that shot there. Utah State gets buried once again. It's 4-0 now. It's the exact same play that Utah State tried to play there, except Weber State finds the success. It's a tough one here. Utah State has not been able to figure out how to break down this Weber State side. Weber State playing very, very good. They're showing exactly why they are undefeated. We still don't have any rankings from the ACHA, but I would not be surprised to see them easily taking the top spot, beating every single one of the teams, holding the top spot, beating them handily. Once again, they took on Montana State, took them all the way through, won in regulation. So it's tough. It's very, very tough. But someone's got to knock them off the high horse. We want it to be Utah State in this situation. Turning on the Jets. Here's Gifford. Gifford gets by his defenseman. Bethede gets behind it. Shot goes through the crease. No one's there on the end of it. Weber State takes it all the way up. Dumps it into the corner. They'll commit to a line change here. Dumping it. Takes a good deflection there. Hirschfield shepherds it to James. James now plays it up. That was intercepted there by the Aggies. Bynan can't play that one across. Here's Baum trying to get away from it. Weber State's just kind of everywhere at the moment. Laux plays it to Alonzo. Alonzo takes the shot. It goes off the leg pads of Titan Anderson. Titan Anderson's had a tough night tonight as he's had to face a good amount of shots, and Weber State's not making it easy for him. Off the glass to Freegang. Bunch of bodies kind of collide there. They're going to call it offsides in this situation. 16:39 left here in the third period of Game 1 of Military Appreciation Night. Once again, if you're a veteran listening to our broadcast, thank you very much for your support and for your service to our country. It's because of you that we can afford to do some of this great stuff that we do here in the United States. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, we're happy to have you. Hockey is for everyone, and we appreciate the how everyone has been very cordial in the chat tonight. We really do appreciate that. This is a rivalry game, but these guys have been playing with each other for a very long time. So it's nothing but love at the end of the day. Utah State trying to get a hold of it. Here's James. Plays the stretch pass and now takes a deflection that goes all the way into the crowd. We'll have a neutral zone face-off here as the ref calls for a new puck. Utah State with their offense-heavy line out there at the moment. Pierce, Sanborn, Ferry, LaFontaine, and Pfeiffer. Weber State wins it initially, but Zach Pierce dumps it into the corner, going for the puck here. Ooh, Weber State's going to have a chance on A. Couldn't get a hold of it and get possession. That was Klochkov. Couldn't get on the end of it, but Weber State comes away with it. Here's Hunter. Dumps it up and forward. That comes off of the face mask there of Titan Anderson. And James will pick it up and recycle through the crease, and that was a very dangerous pass there. Shot comes off of a Utah State defenseman. Utah State having a hard time clearing the puck at the moment. Here's Hunter again to Klochkov. Plays it back to James. James loses it. Apologies, that's Hooley. Hooley will turn on the Jets, getting past 1, 2. And we have an open ice hit here. We're going to have a high stick, I think, is the call here. We'll see the exact call, but we have number 16, that's Maker Klochkov, going to the box here. 16, no, it's going to be for an interference. Interference has been a very common call here this evening against the Weber State Wildcats. But what does that really mean? It just means they're playing very aggressive, trying to insert themselves on every play possible, and really just make it a tough time there for the Aggies. Aggies will go back onto the power play. It's kind of make or break here at this point. Still 15 and a half to go, but down 4 goals. That's a steep hill, but it starts here. Weber State clears that one all the way back to Titan Anderson. Caleb Sanborn will pick it up, assesses his options, and then takes it forward. Gets around the first, round the second. Apologies, this is Ramsey on this one. Freegang tries to get the shot off, gets tripped up. Trying to clear it, comes off of a ref instead, but it ends up all the way back there to Titan Anderson. Titan Anderson will play it forward, trying to spark some offense here. Here's Baum, dumps it forward for the forecheck. Not fast enough for the Aggies, though. Weber State clears it once again. Titan Anderson looks to reset the puck. Here's LaFontaine with it. Being pressured here by Weber State, and Weber State comes away with it to Laux. Utah State recovers. Utah State trying to connect some passes. There's to Pierce. To Pfeiffer. Dumps it around the backside of the net. Hirschfield comes out of his crease to get a hold of that one. Chips it up and over. 40 seconds left here on the penalty. Weber State will be the first ones to get to it. Boy, it's in the speed, and I think the final product, it really comes down to who wants it more, and Weber State just seems to want that puck more right now. Weber State holding on to it. You would have guessed, you wouldn't guess that they're on the penalty kill at the moment. Utah State just cannot put it together. Utah State taking it across center ice here. Finds Wallace. Wallace tries to get it to LaFontaine. LaFontaine can't get the shot off. It would have been a backhand shot. Penalty clock expires. Klochkov comes back on immediately and tries to make himself known. Ooh, dangerous play there by Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer trying to get that backhand across the crease there. Back to Pfeiffer. In front of the net. Tripped up was Jack Wallace. Forced up against the glass are the Aggies. They're trying their best to keep it going, but Artukovic will get to this one. And Weber State will take it on the run here, going back on offense. Bit of a deflection there off of Norwood's skate as that pass was intended for Hunter. Weber State comes away with it. Once again, shot is in the back of the net. These are just goals you cannot be letting in. Like, I can't explain it any better than that. These are the same shots that Utah State are getting and not taking the shots on them. Weber State's getting them and just burying them. I believe that was Reed on that goal. We'll have to wait for the official call. It was at the far side of my sight, so couldn't tell you off the top of my head at the moment. Looks like they're going to call a timeout. I think Gearloff wants to check in with his squad as they're down 5-0 here with 12:40 left here. We'll keep it for the next minute here. Boy, this is a very, very tough situation for the Aggies. In previous games, they've been able to compete and come back in these situations. Yeah. Obviously, Weber State's been the victor in those games, but Utah State's always been a competitor. Tonight, not so much. What do you think, Brett?
Not so much. I'd agree fully with you. They just didn't show up today. Weber State did. Yeah, with this deficit, usually you do see them come back and coming back into the lead. But in our chat, the rankings are out.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, Weber State is number 2 behind Oklahoma State.
Interesting.
And Utah State University comes in at 4th.
4th, well, I mean, that's not a bad place to be in. You know, that's a good spot to get in as far as like playoffs are concerned. That'll give you good seeding, but you know, it's still you gotta make those goals when you got them. You gotta take advantage of these. And so far, it's looking like Weber State's going to sweep Utah State this season, but we'll have to wait and see. Timeout expires, and we're going to go back to competing. Some fans are making their way out of the George S. Eccles Ice Arena, finding their team down 5-0. Utah State having a hard time getting things going. Puck is dumped forward. Artukovic picks it up. Trying to fight for it here are the Aggies. Trying to find some semblance of life here with just over 12 minutes left here in the game. Utah State holds on to it at center ice, dumping it forward, and they'll get picked up there by Hirschfield. Bit of a frustrating one. You definitely don't want to lose, but you definitely don't want to get shut out in those situations. So Utah State, it's got to be a tough one out there. I understand the frustrations from the Utah State Aggies. They'll have Utah Valley tomorrow for Game 2 of the Military Appreciation Night. That tends to be a bit of an easier game. I won't say too much. I don't want to spoil it by any means. Utah Valley could just show up and handle us. You never know. Utah State wins that face-off, but no one can get on the end of it. LaFontaine will have to track it all the way back, dump it into the corner. There's no one there to pick up the pass, and that'll be an icing call. Teague Pilgrim shaking his head after that one. Frustrations must be being felt all around on this Aggie squad. The chemistry just isn't clicking tonight. Face off to the right-hand side. Utah State comes away with it. Here's LaFontaine trying to play it off the glass. Here's Wallace turning on the Jets, trying to use his speed to get beyond the Wildcats, but the Wildcats are able to dispossess him. Hirschfield will dive onto that puck and just call it dead. It's a good move. Right move, I'd say. Always protect the puck when you got the chance. There's no need to try and keep that puck alive. Just take the face off and keep playing good defense. Weber State's been playing great defense. Not too much of a frustration on their side. Face off on the right-hand side of Hirschfield's net. Weber State comes away with it. Here's James. Big open ice hit. Free Gang tries to play it off the glass, but it goes back to Weber State instead. Laux turns on the Jets, tries to pass it forward into the corner, but the fans on the pass. Utah State with a good chance here. Here's Free Gang. Can't keep control of the puck. Boy, that's just got to be frustrating. Every time the Utah State Aggies have a chance, the puck just seems to go between their legs. Alonzo makes his way around the defenseman. Shot comes off of the leg pads of Titan Anderson. Titan Anderson's outside of his box at the moment. Needs to get back in the crease. Alonzo. Back into the corner. All the way around the backside. Here's Baum. Big hit there. And this one will make its way over to Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer's got options. Takes a shot. Oh, what a save there by Hirschfield. Hirschfield commits the body, and it goes right off of the leg pads. That was easily the best chance of the night for the Aggies, and Hirschfield denied them. Man, you could not have asked for a better opportunity. Great save by the Weber State goaltender to keep this score line at 5-0. Utah State can't keep control of the puck. Weber State will take possession. Here's Hunter. Makes it around one. Stops, retreats, plays it over across. Tries to play it across into the crease. There's no one there to be found. Bynan plays it to Pierce. Pierce tries to get beyond. Will take it back and retreat. Utah State has to stay on side. Zach Pierce turns on the Jets. Says, I'm going to take this one by myself. 9:42 left here in the game. They're going to call that one offsides in the case, so Utah State has to get back onside before they can touch the puck. Utah State man down at the moment. Norwood playing it forward. Utah State playing out of the back. Taking it up. Off of the skate there of Morris. Shot by Baum. Baum goes wide, though, unfortunately. Bit of a scrum here in the corner trying to get the puck out. Weber State's going to come away with it. 8:55 left here in the game. Kloshkov plays it off. Shot comes off of the chest of Titan Anderson and over into the back netting. A lot of physicality starting to boil over. You can see the frustration from the Aggies starting to show heavily. Lots of words being shared amongst players. Weber State's saying, none of it. We got none of it. The scoreboard will tell you all when it really comes down to it. It's unfortunate for the Aggies tonight. 8:48 left here on the clock. Weber State will dump that into the corner. Jensen will track it. Getting a touch on it, that's Pilgrim. Playing it forward for Mater. Mater will get on the end of it. Mattingly trying to get over, can't get there. Big hit there on the walls. Utah State trying to come away with it, but Mattingly. Big hit there in open ice as Pilgrim and Mattingly coming together. Puck goes wide. No one across in the crease there. Pilgrim. Play it forward for Wallace. Wallace will get on the end of it. Plays it back. Not strong enough, however, though. We have a broken stick. We got some arms being thrown. It'll be Wallace and Bullock, it looks like. No penalties have been called as of this moment. Nope, it looks like we have one player heading there. That's going to be Jacob Bullock going to the box on that one. That'll be for an elbow. Elbow on that call. 2 minutes in the box for the Weber State Wildcats. That puts Utah State back on the power play with 8:06 left here on the clock. as a Utah State broadcast, it's kind of hard. 5-0 is a very, very tough deficit to break down. I think for the fans who showed up and for everyone here, just get one. Fight back. Do your best. Don't concede anymore. Get that goal. Don't let this be a shutout. Titan Anderson will hold on to it. He's got some options, but he plays it forward, trying to get to Wallace, but ends up in the path of James instead. Wallace will take it from him. Utah State will recycle. Pfeiffer to LaFontaine. LaFontaine will take it through. LaFontaine loses track of the puck. Trying to find Sanborn. Sanborn's just a step behind. This will get to Ramsey. Ramsey back to Wallace. Back to Ramsey. To Sanborn. We have a Weber State Wildcat on the ground. He was kind of covering the puck there for a sec. James will retreat and recover this one. Nope. Sanborn will get on the end of this one. And that puck will drift its way all the way back to Titan Anderson. Titan Anderson has a couple options with LaFontaine. LaFontaine leaves it for Pfeiffer. Back to LaFontaine. Around the backside of the net to Dylan Walton. Walton can't keep hold of it. Sorry, that's Jack Wallace. Dumped forward, 40 seconds left here on the power play for the Aggies. Pfeiffer surveys his options. Advances, plays it forward for Bynan. Bynan tries to spring forward Freegang, but Freegang can't get there as he's just double teamed. That puck will fall all the way back to Titan Anderson. Anderson can't get his stick on it. Ramsey. Ramsey goes down to Bynan. Over to Teague Pilgrim. To Baum. Weber State's back at full strength. Baum will take the shot. Shot goes directly into the glove of Trey Hirschfield. Hirschfield's had himself a great game. Can't deny it. He's denied the Aggies of a couple great chances there. But Utah State can't get any quality shots off at the moment. It's been a very tough one. Face-off coming to the right-hand side of Hirschfield's goal. Weber State will come away with that one. Played off the glass to Izadi. Izadi will play it up, and he gets through all the Aggies all the way back to Titan Anderson. Tough one as it goes all the way to Bynan. Makes his way through, back to Bynan. Trying to get cheeky on the pass there. Won't quite work. Freegang gets around his defenseman. Plays it over to Bynan. Bynan gets tripped up on his own stick. Here's Izadi. Artukovic. They're going to call the offsides there. Utah State's frustrated. Artukovic kind of let that one go. He saw the call by the refs, and he allowed Pfeiffer to just touch that one. Easy offsides call. 5:16 left here to play in the third period. 5-0 is the score line currently. Faceoff will come off to the left-hand side of Titan Anderson's net. Titan Anderson's had himself a difficult night, to say the least. Verschier lines up across from Sanborn. Utah State will win that one, but Weber State will win it immediately after. Shot goes up and above the goal. Dumped inwards, and that'll go into the backside netting. Face off to the right-hand side now of Titan Anderson. 9:34 is the local time here. Still a pretty full crowd here at the George S. Eccles Ice Arena. It's always nice to have a good sold-out crowd. Hopefully they can pack it tomorrow again as well. Utah State comes away with that puck. Utah State having a hard time communicating. That pass is just a little too hard. Intended for Sanborn. Utah State comes away with it. Here's Zach Pierce. Dumped forward. There was Duchess. Duchess trying to fight for it. Forced up against the wall. Utah State trying to put some fight into this. Here's Verschier. Weber State, great pass there. Calling for it was James. Mater went for the shot instead. It was covered well by Titan Anderson. Utah State will recycle. Here's Baum. Plays it forward. No one can get on the end of that pass. And that'll be an easy offsides call there, as Kloshkov was still just kind of lurking there beyond the blue line. You can kind of see where the ideas are coming from with these passes that the Utah State Aggies are making, but it sounds like the communication just isn't there, because once the pass is made, the man intended for the pass isn't paying attention, and you're just not going to connect in that situation. LaFontaine plays it around the backside, but it's picked up by Bullock. Over to Norwood. Norwood and Ramsey fighting for this puck in the corner. Gets out to Teague Pilgrim. Pilgrim plays it forward, but gets picked up there by the Wildcats. Wildcats stay calm and collected. Here's Bullock. Plays it back to his defenseman. Over to Kloshkov. We have a fight here on the ice again. We have hands actually being thrown at this point. It looks like it's going to be Bullock again. This should go both ways. Bullock and Pilgrim should be in the box in this situation. We had hands to the face. Gloves were dropped. Bullock makes his way over to the box. Objectively, you should see Pilgrim head to the box in this situation as well. But maybe the reason behind that is because Bullock was the only one that dropped gloves in that situation. Once you drop gloves in this specific league, you're not allowed to fight. They will call that one. Bullock's making some questionable hand gestures in the box. That's not cool. Pearson Hunter talking it through with the ref there. Still nothing for the Aggies in the penalty box at the moment. We'll see what happens. Refs continue to delineate over by both benches. Speaking with Coach Gearloff. Gearloff taking over for the recently hired new head coach for the Aggies, but ended up leaving for a different job. We actually have two players from the Weber State Wildcats in the box now. That's Corey Mater made his way over to the box. Unsure what his is. Maybe unsportsmanlike conduct. Unsure. We have not gotten any official call yet. Definitely roughing or fighting. Nope, as Bullock's going to get shown the doors after that one. He's going to get the game suspension at the rest of that one. Unsure as to the reason why. Maybe the fighting, maybe the unsportsmanlike gestures. Unsure. As it stands, however, it's still 5-0 in favor of the Wildcats at the moment. Face-off will be at the left-hand side of the Weber State's goal. Utah State has a chance here. try and build something back, get that first goal, build some confidence. Pilgrim plays it over. Here's Ramsey, plays it over to LaFontaine. LaFontaine takes a shot. Oh, and it ends up in the back of the net. It's about time.
Finally.
Initial shot coming from Jack LaFontaine is picked up by Free Gang. Free Gang shepherds it into the back of the net, and it is 5-1 with just under 3 minutes left here to play. That'll end the power play for the Aggies, and we'll be back to 5-on-5 hockey. So, I don't know, Brett. Once again, it sounds like it's still a bit too little, too late at this point, but you got to build that first goal, and it's nice to get it back at least at that point.
Yeah, give us some momentum. Maybe they can score another goal just to make it not too big of a deficit. Can't speak today.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I mean, oh, wow. See, now I'm messing up. Play for pride at this point, you know? Like, if you can get a second goal, you can show that, hey, you can get beyond these guys. You can compete with them. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, Weber State might come away with this victory tonight, but you gotta compete. You gotta compete. So it's good to see the Aggies get on the board, especially at home.
Yes.
Alonzo lines up across from Free Gang. Both teams encroaching into the face-off circle. Bynum plays it over to Ramsey. Ramsey finds Pfeiffer, who finds Free Gang, but they can't get on the end. They can't find that final shot. Utah State trying to keep this puck in their offensive zone here. Can't get on the end of it, however, and James will turn it up. Weber State comes the other way. They have a 3v2 situation. They dump it all the way over to Titan Anderson. Titan Anderson will just snag that one. Clock stops with exactly 2 minutes left here in the game. Face-off will come off to the left-hand side of Titan Anderson's net. Verschier lines up across from Utah State Aggies. I believe that's Sanborn. Yep. Utah State wins the initial face-off, but it goes to Artukovic, and Weber State will recycle. Utah State tries to build out of the back. Saldana puts on the pressure. Can't quite get there, however. And this puck ends up in the path of Saldana. He'll get a touch on it, and they're going to call an offsides on that one. Saldana exchanging some words with Artukovic. Artukovic definitely getting under the skin of some of these Aggies, but being down 5-1, it can be frustrating, so I do understand. Neutral zone face-off here. 1.5 minutes left here in the game. Gifford will line up across from Hunter. Yes. Artukovic plays it back. Turning on the Jets here is Theed. Plays that shot, goes off of the blocker pad of Titan Anderson. Utah State will look to build out of the back, but Weber State's putting on the pressure, keeping that high line pressure, and that works out for them as they come away with the puck. Here's Artukovic again. Under a minute left here. Kloshkov will dump that one. Utah State will turn it up. Here's Wallace. Wallace tries to connect with Gifford. Can't quite get there. Utah State still trying. Here's Wallace. Forced up against the glass. Pilgrim tries to take a shot. comes off of James's skate. Utah State still trying to put on the pressure. Here's Wallace trying to get something off. Plays it back to Baum. Baum fans on the shot. Hughes will pick it up. 15 seconds left here. And that'll end up into the path of James. James will shepherd it around the backside of the net. And that should just about do it here for us. And that'll be the end. Weber State comes out of their box, out of their bench, doing the Scotsman, mocking some of the fans here. Always nice and classy to see that. But hey, they got the 5-1 victory. Not a whole lot Utah State can argue in that situation. They definitely got outclassed in this game tonight. Brett, what are your final thoughts on this game as we close out this show?
I expected a lot more from Utah State. They kind of disappointed me tonight. I thought they could at least get a run at it, and they came in a little bit too late.
I would agree with that one. Unfortunately, you can't when you can't match the intensity for too long, and anytime they take the shot, it seems like it's going to hit the back of the net. It's a tough one. But Utah State will have another chance tomorrow as they take on Utah Valley University for Game 2 of Military Appreciation Night. Once again, very happy to have anyone that watched this game, whether you're a Utah State fan or a Weber State fan. Always happy to have the opportunity to provide this stream for everybody. This will be the end of this installation, however, and Utah State will take off and try and build off from tomorrow. Tomorrow, once again, Utah Valley University. Tends to be a bit more of a simple game for Utah State, but this one's going to sting. You definitely don't want to lose against these guys when you have the opportunity. So, yep, not a whole lot more to say. Utah State gets outclassed, takes the loss in this one. Once again, join us again tomorrow for the same stream, same bat time, same bat channel. But follow us again next week. Next week will be the Beehive Showcase. Utah State will be taking on a number of teams coming to town, including California Berkeley, I believe Northern Arizona University, and a couple more I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. But always excited for those games. Utah State coming into the center circle. There's been a good tradition going on of trying to pray at the end of games. Actually, they're going to line up for a photo with the scout troops that presented our nation's colors for us. But I think that'll just do it for us here at the George S. Eccles Ice Arena. For Brett Weibel, for Sam on camera, I'm Brian Kirk. You've been listening to